opposed to as opposed to anything else. Jeff has been gardening, tit runs, studying. What are you studying, Jeff? Paul chilled with weekend with my daughter. Nice. Nice, nice. Yeah, mine have gone away on holidays, so I didn't get quite as long with them this weekend as what I normally do. But it is what it is, guys. Right. Let's obviously have a look through what we've got coming up, and then oh, Jeff, my course, good man. John's been gardening and bonsai tree maintenance. Bonsai trees remind me of Karate Kid. Reading my new book, Patrick Chimp's Paradox. I've read that. It's really interesting. Um, about there's two parts to your brain, and obviously understanding what those parts are. So yeah, great book that is. I did, to be honest, not that obviously it's very interesting. It's a bit off topic, but about 5 years ago, I did a lot of work on myself, and I was doing, I went through some stuff, but obviously, I did a lot of work, and I was reading a book every single week. And I promise you, for anyone who's struggling in anything, I'm not particularly the best reader. I prefer audiobooks. I've realized as I've got older, that's obviously, something that I tend to learn better from obviously hearing things and doing things as opposed to reading. But no, for anyone who's, struggling in anything, even if it's, yeah, anxious or, someone else, I promise you, get your, rather than sitting around and kind of, thinking about it all, just, so stick your head into books, whether it's, reading them or, you know, audiobooks. My thing was I'd spent, a lot of time in the car because I was traveling, and yeah, I realized I was spending probably 2 hours a day in the car minimum, and yeah, it, really helped me, so yeah, make sure there's tons of books out there. And some of my favorites, I know we're completely off topic here. If you ever want to read some good books, there's one called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. That's brilliant. Um, there is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil too. I really enjoyed that. I'm actually listening to it again. Um, you know, um, s- so yeah, just yeah, it's really good. I still obviously I still do a lot of audiobooks, but I do feel like once you've read probably 20 of the, self-help money books, they're all identical, so I don't tend to read them anymore. I'm really into Jack 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 Reacher, yeah, I've pretty much read them all now, and I'm just going through them again. But anyway, let's get to the topic why everyone's here. All right, how we're gonna prep now. You guys know, Sunday evenings, I really, like to prep. I'm not, saying that all the trades that we speak about are going to happen, but it's just obviously what I think the reason why I think Sunday evenings are so important. You can obviously one, note down all the news events you need to be aware of. Two, you need to note down obviously the currencies that you potentially need to be aware of. Now, like I said, don't hold this as gospel because the week unravels as it goes, so it's very hard to see that continuation. Now, what do we know about what is happening? So Donald Trump, classic. You know, got he come out Friday, and he said that there's a potential that he might raise tariffs. You know, starting with China. All right, what did this do? Dollar went, you know, crypto when gold obviously got its strength back, and it's obviously, you know, sent the whole kind of market a bit crazy. I'm very, very interested to see what's, you know, happening. There's been lots of speak about crypto, and you know how it's obviously had a huge dump off. It's liquidated millions, probably billions. And there was even a very, very tragic story about I've forgotten his name actually. He's a really, really big social media crypto guy. I think he was European. He lost 65 million. And yeah, unfortunately not very nice to hear, but ended up taking his own life, or well, that's what it is suspected, you know. So it's kind of a bit of a warning. I mean, obviously, I know that is a huge, you know, example here, but risk is everything. And actually, if you risk properly, then it is actually impossible to blow your account. Yes, you're not going to have these quick, you know, wins, but I promise you, for every one quick win, there's probably 20 very, very quick losses. You know, there's probably more, 100. So just be aware of this, you know, as you are trading. So yeah, but right, let's have a look at, you know, what we need to potentially keep an eye on. Remember, with US trading events, obviously non-farm payroll was you know, has been cancelled. Most of the bigger US data releases are being cancelled because obviously we are, you know, still in this, you know, what they would call as a blackout, where, you know, yeah, they obviously need to agree. I think we're coming into week two now, or week three. So, you know, the longest one I think was 2018, and it was 31 days, but Trump obviously likes to do things differently, so it wouldn't surprise me if this one lasts longer, because he's not going to back down. And obviously the dollar hasn't been doing too badly off the back of it. So I wonder if a blackout helps him, because obviously he can control the narrative. So you've got to think about everything on the flip side. So yeah, right, Monday. We've obviously got a bank holiday for Canada and Japan, so that means obviously, you know, it's going to be relatively slow in regards to liquidity with obviously these two currencies. China, nothing really Monday. Then Tuesday, you know, starts off. We got the RBA meeting minutes. Obviously, it's not when we trade, so we can obviously hop on Tuesday morning and obviously identify how we're going to react to this data. We then obviously got employment for GBP. Let's just have a quick look at this, refresh our memories on it. Remember, you can click on everything coming into October. You know, we've obviously what we August. You know, jobs have been a bit all over the place. I mean, we smashed it in July, we smashed it in August. We forecast, yeah. And then obviously this month we are there. There's no forecast yet, but obviously it's you know, is it going to be due to increase? Jobs data's been a bit all over the place, you know, in regards to other currencies. I'm here in the UK, and I think, you know, although obviously I'm not struggling with it, general consensus is that, you know, it's not as easy to get a job as what it used to be. So it wouldn't surprise me if this unemployment rate ticked up, but you know, obviously yeah, that's just me. And then we got Jerome Powell speaking later on Tuesday. He's been a bit pessimistic recently, and I'm interested to see what he's going to come out with in regards to the tariffs, you know, because obviously he's very, very anti-tariff because he's got no control over it. Then we've got Wednesday, US CPI data. Wouldn't surprise me if this is cancelled, but obviously this is inflation data, so it's going to play quite a big part. We've then got Thursday, AUD. It might potentially be quite a big AUD week. We've got some more pound news. We've also got more US news. Will this come out or not? That's the question. And then we've got Friday, we got Euro inflation data. So we're going to be looking at trading, obviously, the US dollar, Euro, pound, and Aussie would be the pairs, which obviously I would, or the currencies which I'd like to focus on. So we've obviously got some high impact news here. So yeah, just obviously what you want to be doing is making a note of everything. Obviously, recognize that lots of the US data was cancelled last week, so there's been no releases at all. So let's wait and see what happens. But obviously, euro, the dollar is always pound and Aussie. So those are obviously the kind of currencies we're going to be looking at here. You guys know too, on a Sunday, I like to look at everything on a higher time frame. All right. So let's, see we're kind of middle of October right now. As you can see, dollar has gained a bit of ground. Let's have a look at it on a weekly, still kind of blending. I've deleted all of my levels here. So let's do this one. 99. I always recommend dollar wise. You guys saw last week that we traded off the back of this quite a lot. So just obviously be aware. So we've obviously got, I don't think we're going to reach 100, but I could be surprised. I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times before. But so let's just clean these ones up. If we don't achieve that, we got obviously 98, 500, and then we've also got 98 here. I think I'm going to hold off this and just keep it like that. And then we can see what happens here. So this is obviously what we're kind of looking at here. Dollar is 100% in a downtrend in regards to the weekly. However, daily, we're starting to trend to the upside here. All right, it'd be interesting to see if we come down and hit 98,500 and this holds, will we continue? Because I think if we can, then obviously, yes, we've already hit 99,500 and rejected, so potentially could be 90, could be 100 on the cards here. We are trending very nicely to the upside here. It's just obviously where we're going to be looking at. And you guys have, hopefully realized now, not only, should you be looking at the pairs that you want to trade, you should also be looking at the dollar in regards to these key levels here. Because we've taken so many trades in the last couple of weeks, just based off this area here. And obviously using our, strength of pairs and obviously utilizing the highest probability. So um, that's obviously, wait and see what happens here. Now, what we're going to be looking for this week? That's obviously, like always, we'll obviously break your USD down from scratch. All right, and then obviously we can have a little look about what we potentially think might happen. So monthly wise. All right, we've obviously got this monthly upper level here. All right, if everyone agrees here, we've obviously rejected it. Last month we've obviously had, lots of support and resistance around this area here. So, as you can see here, we've got a break, retest, and then a continuation. Monthly wise as well, we've got to identify we are in an uptrend. We've obviously broken, but we could be due to, come back down into this area here. But I wouldn't really worry about pushing this too far to the downside. We're going to mark this level up here, and then we'll mark one more just above. So I think we could go here, and that'll be perfectly fine to me. Weekly wise, obviously, we're in a bit of consolidation here, as you guys can see. This is our high and this is our low. Let's just make this white so it's nice and easy. Yeah. We've obviously started to trend to the upside. We're now stuck in a bit of consolidation daily. You could argue we're in a bit of a downtrend here. All right, so let's just mark this on as well so that everybody understands what is happening here. All right, let's do potentially this. And let's make the daily, I don't know, a green. Yeah. All right, so trend, we can use our highlighter tool here. Trend was marking up very, very nicely, but obviously you can see here we are trending to the upside here, and now we've broken that. Yeah, lower low, lower high, lower low. Are we going to continue? Daily is below the 50 EMA, which obviously identifies our trend here. So let's now wait and see what it looks like on, say, for example, a 4 hour. All right, very, very, similar to the daily channel here. We're still trending to the downside. I would be keeping an eye out about what happens here. All right, let's just make these blue. So I'll be keeping an eye out 100% what happens here. And then, you want to be obviously marking the previous low as well. So we've obviously got our identity of trend here. I'm sure if we go down to hourly here, it will start to just blend a bit. So if I was to, I haven't really gone through Fibonacci much in a while, but if we were to use the Fibonacci here, all right, I'm just gonna hold this here, and then I'm gonna take it away. All right, if we've obviously got this right down here, right, we've seen this move here happen, yeah, right, this move here has happened. All right, where would we expect price to struggle to get through? And this is before we've even drawn, the Fibonacci on. I would draw up probably this area here, yeah. Right, we're going to make this the golden zone here. So we're going to make this yellow. There is a video on this in my course. All right. Now, if we were to put the Fibonacci back on, right, this is pretty much where the, between 78.6 and 61.8. All right, so you don't even have to understand where the Fibonacci is. We can obviously then, if we wanted to use it, we could utilize this as our target. Yeah. All right, so the bottom yellow box would be our target. Now, we've obviously got two areas of interest here. Right, we've got one here, yeah, and we then got one here. Oh, someone's coming in. Let's just make this a bit bigger. Yeah. All right, we've got one there and we've got one here. Yeah. All right. Now, if price is to struggle to break through here, we know that this is going to hold and it's going to continue to the downside here. All right. There'd be obviously lots of confluences to back this up. We're trading within the channel. We're in a downtrend. Obviously the Fibonacci's held up, the resistances held up. I've just named four of them, and obviously I'm sure we could find a lot more. All right, that would be this one here. I'd be happy with that. I'd be comfortable with that. And yeah, we could obviously then take this to the downside here. I actually think this might happen. Now, if we were going to take this to the upside here, all right, what would I want to see? Okay, I would want to see this break here, this hold here, and then a continuation. All right. Now, what confluences would be from taking the trade here? All right, we've broken through the Fibonacci. That's one confirmation of a potential change in trend. We've broken through the equal high. All right, that then means it's created a new high here. That means trend will change. The EMA will be below, which would also give us a confluence to take this trade to the upside here. Yeah. Now that would mean the only thing I'd be a bit concerned would be obviously this overall trend here. But obviously the ideal scenario might be some way you break above but both of it, stay a little bit patient, wait for it to come back, hold here, and then it's broken all three. So that might be one that we are interested in. So there'd be two scenarios, all right, and both of them would be powerfully logical, and this way you've got to be open with your trading. All right, you've got to be open to, not wanting to trade a pair in just one direction only. All right, you've got to be really looking to understand why would this happen? All right, and if this, happens, how can I capitalize on it? Yeah, and that is obviously how I would look at it. All right, there'd be the confluences, the reasons why you would take these particular trades. All right, and obviously we've worked this out from the beginning here. All right, so Euro USD is one. I'm just gonna have a look at this question here. Uh, Euro USD, would it have to go below the EMA to be a sell? No. I would use this as not enough of a confluence because you could have an extra confluence and just hold on for a breakout, candle, so something like this. But I think if we get enough of a holding during Asia, I actually think we're going to see a few gaps in the market today. So yeah, don't obviously be alarmed if that happens. I think we might see that. So yeah, but that I'm just obviously trying to explain here what you need to be looking out for in every single trade that you offer. So we then we'll do gold last. Does anyone want me to break down a particular pair? Put it in the chat. If you want me to break down anything, I'll break it down. Otherwise, I'll probably go for like a middle of the range one, like a GBP AUD. So does anyone want me to break anything down? I've got Daniel here. Okay, all right. Yep, USDJPY. All right. So USDJPY. So T, if we got time, I'll break down GBPJPY as well. All right. Let's do something very, very, similar here. All right. We want to obviously identify what is, happening with USDJPY right, now. All right. Overall, oh, sorry. We've obviously got been a bit of an uptrend, but we've got a bit of indecision here. We've had an equal low, and this would be a bit of indecision in regards to a monthly. I'd put one here. I would then I'd put one here. Just put this a little bit lower, and then I probably would go for one probably here. All right, that's what I'd go for there. All right, so these would be our three, levels here. Weekly, we can obviously have a look at what is happening here. All right, I would definitely mark up weekly in regards to we've got this trend here, and it'd be interesting to see what the daily trend line, looks like. But obviously, prices, potentially trending to the upside here. Now let's have a look at daily. Yep, it holds very, very well. So that's what we like to see here. All right, so daily's holding nicely, but it's very, very there's a lot of indecision here at the moment in regards to what is happening. We obviously had this, and these are things to look out for here. Consolidation broke out, and obviously naturally we go to the upside here. But obviously, it doesn't help with last week. We had a very, very bullish Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday has engulfed Thursday and Wednesday. So that is one thing to be aware of. The daily on Friday was very, very strong. There was no pullback at all. However, we are coming into a monthly support here, so I want to be aware of that. Skipping into a 4 hour time frame. If we're coming down, what prices do we need to be aware of? All right, that's, one thing. This monthly would be one. I mean, it'd be quite a big area for me, this. It would have to be something like this. I'm going to mark it in green. All right. It would have to be a big area here. And I think that, yeah, th this would be my kind of tester area. All right. Of where I think price could potentially, go to and why, So we want to be monitoring price around this area here. All right. Because, if we obviously hold, we should see, price come back up and te test this here. All right, or if we break through, yes, we're going to want to see something like this, So price obviously got a long way to go, if you look at this, we got like probably 50 pips, 50 to 60 pips before we're in that area. So yeah, let's wait and see what happens. This is a very, very harsh move here. That obviously, yeah, I would be waiting to see, like I said, what's going to happen in this area here. All right, are we going to hold and then continue to the upside, or is there enough yen strength to continue to the downside? But this would be my area of interest here. Yeah. I wouldn't be worrying about anything else at all. If we were to pull back, the only other option we could look out for was if we were to pull back, then yeah, potentially you're going to be looking for anything around this area here, to potentially continue to the downside if we want trend, if we want this overall trend to be tested. Maybe we've obviously got one more move to the upside here. So that's probably how I would play USDJPY if we're not going to be looking out for this area here, right? Then yeah, we do start to get a pullback. I'll be interested to see what happens here. You could probably put a Fibonacci on this. It's going to be roughly in the right area. Yeah, pretty much, So just be monitoring around that area there. That's what I'll be looking for. Let's do gold because obviously everyone, loves it. Monthly looks horrible, just keeps on pumping. Weekly keeps on pumping. Daily keeps on pumping. We've obviously had this huge move here, so we are going to have to go to localized time frames here. Obviously, like I say all the time with gold right now, it is relatively easy to trade because you just got to look at what has happened recently. All right, so we want an all-time high here. If we break, there's only going to be probably three levels here. I would always be looking to buy. If you were to, right, just going to use a scenario here, all right, just because of how gold is right now. Yeah. All right. So if we did a one to, say a 1 to 4, yeah. Right. There's one. We're going to clone these. All right. And I'm going to just explain the idea of it and why you don't want to get rushed in. All right. If you had buy stops, right, on all of these, yeah. Right. Buy stops on all of these. All right. You're thinking, right, what, if price comes here, I'm going to buy. Oh, so price goes there. I'm gonna go away. Stop it. I'm gonna have to start again. Right. If price goes here, you're gonna buy. Yeah. If price comes down to here, you're gonna buy. And if price comes down to here, you're gonna buy. Yeah. All right. If you try here, you get, stopped out. All right. Loss. If you try here, you get stopped out, loss. And if you do this one and you have a win. All right. You've lost £1 here. All right. Hypothetically, you've lost £1 here. You're plus £4 here. Yeah. All right. So you're up plus two. Yeah. Now, rather than, sorry, plus two. Yeah. All right. Now, if you were trading, say, hundreds, all right, you'd be up 200. If you were trading thousands, you'd be up 2,000. If you were trading 10,000, right? You'd be up 20,000. You can lose two and win one, and you'd be up 20k if you're risking 10k every single time. All right, this is how you've got to look at trading, yeah. But what ended up happening? No one looks at the larger time frame, and where lots of people got caught last week was on this move here. All right. And what did they try and do? You know, that there was a couple of you in here will be thinking, don't speak about it. It's bad memories, right? You tried to buy here, right? And then you tried to buy here. And then you tried to buy here. And then you probably tried to buy here. And with all these limits exposed, it just wipes you out. All right. Rather than doing because yes, you've been doing really, really well here, but you've been buying here, selling here, buying here, selling here, buying here, selling here, buying here, and selling here. All right. All the guys, the probably the bigger traders, even if you'd have bought here, even if let's just zoom out a little bit, even if you'd have bought up here, yeah. This move here wouldn't have bothered you because you're in all this profit, right? The only people that this move bothered, and it caught out a lot of retail traders. I must have heard 20 stories here, right? But when you actually look at how insignificant this move was, but obviously, if you start to go down the time frames, when people are only taking, 50 pips or whatever, and it moves a thousand pips in from half two till half past five, so 3 hours, everyone's accounts just get blown. All right, and that's not because of the market; it's just because of you just not, managing it properly. So please, if you were caught, make sure that, you don't get caught this week. By all means, remember, we can get a trade wrong. Everyone took this one here. All right, everyone. And realistic of it is, if you'd have just waited, all right, swallowed it, like I said, you could have entered here. All right, made it all back easy. Easy. So yeah, don't forget about that. Right, I've got a few questions here. Why do all yen pairs look the same on Friday? If I look at them on the 15-minute, yen is classed as a, safe haven. So obviously, they all would have trended together. Also, USD JPY governs how majority of the other pairs, move. Not always, but obviously, normally if USD JPY is trending to the downside, it's going to drag everything else down, depending on obviously how strong the alternate currency is. And obviously, again, if it's trending to the upside, it's going to take everything else out. I actually think gold is going to gap up, and I think yen is going to gap down, but let's wait and see. So yeah, right. I'm going to hold it off here. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, give me some, feedback. And yeah, we will be um, back trading live like we always do. At obviously 8 in the morning. Everyone give me a thumbs up very, very quickly. Give me a thumbs up. Must be more of you. Come on. That's it. Cool. Right. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. And yeah, I'll be back at 8 a.m. in the morning. Have a good one, guys.